Good morning, Wolf Country. This is the March post-board meeting video. I wanted to take a few minutes to recap last night's board meeting, a very unusual board meeting, of course, considering the situation that we're in. I want to take a few minutes just to update you on kind of where we're at with COVID-19 and our response and our approach. First of all, yesterday was just a remarkable day seeing all of our all volunteers in the district that were assisting with putting together grab-and-go lunches and breakfasts meals for our students, for any kid under 18. I think we handed over 720 meals. And today, of course, it's happening every day. Today, I think that's even going to increase. We're handing out instructional resource packets. I want to give a shout out to all the volunteers that are participating, both those that participated yesterday, over the weekend, and that are going to continue to participate each day. These individuals are giving of their time away from home and family, volunteering to come out into the unknown world of COVID-19 and just ensure that our students have something good to eat. And what a blessing it is to see that. It was really quite emotional seeing the troops kind of rally together to do that. I want to give a shout out to our administrative team and all the hard work that they're putting in to lead and direct that work, and also all the other things that are going on in the district. This is truly when leadership matters, is during this time, and I just feel like our leaders are doing a remarkable job, and we're so blessed to have them. Just as we transition, and our state and country still continues to figure out how to grapple with this issue, our focus in the Reed Spring district, we're really not trying to look at other districts. We're trying to just follow our own approach that we feel is the right approach for our community. Our focus continues to be, our top priorities are to love and serve our students and to love and serve our staff and patrons. That's our primary objective. We recognize that, as a school district, our top priority has and will always be as we move forward, the academic quality of learning experiences for our kids. This is an unusual time, and we feel pretty strongly that our focus right now for our community is really in a different area. And so we know that as we're going to have many families in our community that are already experiencing the struggles and challenges with businesses shutting down and not having employment and the uncertainties of the future, and families and parents, even in our own household, are just trying to grapple with what this is really going to look like for our families and the unknowns of how long this is going to take. And so we decided that we're going to kind of just take things slowly, one piece at a time, and kind of put the brakes on. We want our teachers to take a deep breath. There's a lot of anxiety on our teachers' plate in how do they manage this situation in their own lives at home? How do they manage their kids? And then just the unknown, are they going to be required to provide some kind of alternate method of required instruction at home? And so just as we met as an administrative team yesterday at central office, we felt like we need to just take a deep breath and slow down and not put too much pressure on people right away. So what we're focusing on this week is really making sure that we have our food service program implemented and we're getting food to kids. We're really trying to fine tune that process, and it seems to be going really well. We are going to continue to provide instructional resources via printed copies. The packets that we've been handing out are pretty much 2 weeks of things that families can use with their kids. There's certainly a lot of online resources that are out there. And those are just resources. I think one of the greatest things that can happen right now, which we're trying to push, just even doing read alouds online, is just having kids read books each day. If kids would read for 30 minutes, just 30 minutes even a day, a book, that will help them so much. We recognize that there's concern about how kids might regress through this time. What we've heard through others that have gone through disasters in other areas of the country, that kids will be resilient, and educators are remarkable at figuring out how to get kids caught back up. And so we're just going to kind of take a slow approach and not have anything mandated at this time. We're just kind of taking it day by day, week by week. Our next step that we feel is kind of a next important piece for our community is to get devices into hands of those that can use those in their home. We recognize that there probably are some that may not have internet access or that ability, but maybe they can get to our parking lot where you can access some Wi-Fi, or to some other location where they can get on the internet and do some things. So we will have more information coming out about specifics, but next Monday our plan is to roll out devices K through 12. Of course, our middle schoolers and high school, most of them have devices, but making sure that we can get devices to those kids that don't have them with them. and then get even iPads and devices out to all of our other students. And so we're going to work on that kind of plan today throughout this week, and our goal getting those deployed next Monday for those of you that could utilize those at home. I know that's something even my wife has asked with several kids at home about having some devices to access some things. That's our next step. Beyond that, I know a lot of people are wondering about school closure. We're wondering, when's the governor going to step in and do something differently than what the kind of the approach he's taken. I just wanted to give you some brief information in regards to how we address school closure. When I have even an opinion right now, my assumption is we won't be back to school April 6th. I think we all probably are feeling that way. I think we're going to be extended. I am pretty confident that's going to happen. The way we're trying to do this is in collaboration with the other school districts. So there's kind of 3 different groups that are really in collaboration. There's the Springfield area school districts, there's the big 8 school districts, of which we're part of the conference, and then there's the Tri-Lakes area with Branson, Hollister, Forsyth, Blue Eye, us, and some of the other districts that are around us, smaller districts in Galena and those places. And so there's these different networks of school districts that are trying to be somewhat consistent on the same page. And so, I'm not trying to go rogue or anything. We're trying to work in collaboration with these groups to make a good decision. And we're hopeful that, the governor will stand up and give some more clarity. But as of now, a decision is not going to be made because I'm trying to work with all these other school districts. But I think we can anticipate the school will be extended, be at home beyond April 6th. But it's really kind of hard to know for teachers to plan for instruction. If we were to do something that's more of a required home learning environment, it's really hard for them to know what does that look like, and do we start preparing if we're going to end up coming back in 3 or 4 weeks? And because there's a lot to figure out. We need to figure out how to provide equity of access and all those different things to meet all the needs of all of our learners, which are very learners across the board. So we're just taking it. We're going to just take it slow. We want our families to focus on loving each other. We're going to have our staff. I'm encouraging our staff to reach out to all their students at least on a weekly basis to connect, whether it's a post, an email, some text. That's something that we've kind of tried to do since the beginning, and just encourage families to just take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. We're going to get through this, and from an academic standpoint, your kids will be fine. We'll work through this, and we'll just provide more information and updates as we get going through this. Some of the board, you'll see if you get on the website and have looked at the agenda, some of those items just are decisions and things that we just don't know a lot about now. As we posted the board agenda prior to all this happening, some of it is kind of up in the air. One of the things, just kind of going through my report, just talking about the budget, where we stand now in terms of the budget and our future is just so unknown, as everyone knows. And so I anticipate, while right now we may be saving money because we're not operating, saving money just in transportation alone and busing and fuel, and different bills that we're paying, there's certainly going to be a decrease in expenses right now. Next year could be really unsettling. And so my approach is that we're just going to tighten things up. Moving forward, our budget is highly dependent on people paying their taxes. If people have no income, if there's no income available, how are people going to pay their taxes, and then how does that trickle down to us as a school district? People, we receive money based off of gambling. We receive money based off of sales tax. If people aren't gambling and people aren't buying as much, we're not going to have much revenue coming in. So I've been telling our administrative team and the board that my approach and stance is that we're going to be pretty tight and just not really add new things. We're going to just take kind of a slow approach to planning for next year and be kind of tighten the reins just until we know and have some clarity about what our future might look like. And one of those things was a position that we weren't going to necessarily add. It was more of a transition of a position, and that's to add hire an instructional coach for the high school. That's something that we feel strongly needs to happen to implement the strategic plan. I just have told the board that we're going to put that on pause as well. My recommendation and plan will be to hire that instructional coach for the high school. We have one, Mrs. Harrell is splitting between the middle school and high school, which we need to figure that out, but we just need to take a little board time until we get the budget under control. We also are going to be discussing kind of at length salaries and different kinds of things with just salaries and what that might look like for our employees. We are excited about continuing to work to make our pay competitive. And one of the things that we've been able to do, kind of jumping around here, but I'll cover it now, is we are going to purchase, we have put out to bid the purchasing of Chromebook devices to replace the Fujitsu devices that we've had in the district. We have got those bids back, and the device amount is $222 per device compared to $1,300 that we were spending on the old devices. The middle school devices, we either have to purchase the old devices that are already breaking down next year, or we have to replace them. The board went ahead and approved my recommendation to approve the bid to purchase Chromebook devices for the middle school. The intermediate school devices as well are really bad shape, so we're going to replace those as well, and that'll be our first year of a cycle for them. So we're replacing both of those. I think that comes around to $130,000. Around $135,000 for those devices, just so you can kind of understand, going into the coming years. I mean, next year I think we'll have around $40,000 to $50,000 savings, but the following year we're like $150,000 savings. The next year we're $350,000 savings. The next year we're almost $500,000 savings, and kind of trickles down, continues on. So we're saving a ton of money with salaries, or with technology, just to shift on devices. And our goal and our board's goal is to utilize as much of that money as we can to get our teacher salary schedules up to where they need to be. There are quite a bit of problems, but we'll talk more about that next month. Moving on, I think the other thing is strategic planning is continuing. We have action plan teams that are working. We are asking everyone that's on an action plan team to please get engaged. Everything's going to be done via Zoom on a conference call. We've had a team that already met yesterday via Zoom, and the feedback I got about that particular group is that it went really well. We need everyone to continue to make that a commitment. It's an important process. We feel like there's no greater work for the district, and even though we're in this difficult time, we feel like this gives us a great sense of purpose, and we still need to have a vision and a focus for our kids. They deserve it. They're going to they deserve that more than ever when they come back to school, for us to be able to really provide the best learning experience. And the action plan and strategic plan is the way to make that happen. So just encourage all of those of you that are already engaged in that work, please stay committed to the work. Find time, connect with your action team leaders, and let's make this happen. I believe that we can do it. I have confidence in our staff and our patrons and community members that are part of that. I think overall I've discussed most of the big highlights. There are a couple board policies that were approved that were required by the state. We did a brief activity program review. Summer school, I know there are a lot of questions about summer school. That was on the agenda as well. We have no idea what's going to happen for summer school. It may look very different. We may not be back to school. We may not even be allowed to be back during the summer. I mean, no one really knows. But there's also a potential that we may beef up summer school and have a couple different offerings, an extension of what that might look like, just to get kids caught up. So we'll work through those things. Again, right now, it's just one day at a time. We're taking it slow. We're letting families focus on families. We are going to continue to provide you instructional resources. Please go to our website, social media, to that webpage that Dr. Kite had created with all of our instructional resources. That is going to continue to get beefed up. And so you'll have plenty of sources to go to supplement things at home while you're there. But right now, I think, many of our kids are going through trauma, are going through some emotional, I've seen it in my own home and some of my kids, and just the impact this is having, not being around their friends, not participating in sports, not doing, just the normal day to day. So I think we need to be aware of just their emotional needs, get them outside to play, let them just kind of be kids for some time, and we'll work through the instructional pieces. More information will come. We just feel like, I was thinking this the other day, at the beginning of the summer, in the summertime, as I was transitioning in, I really wanted to come up with a motto, a theme for the year. And this theme has turned into something more significant. And this idea that we're one with the pack has never meant so much. And, I know that now is the time for us to continue to rally and support each other. And I'm seeing evidence of that in our school district, in our community, in our families that are just trying to do so many good things for others. And so just encourage you to lift and encourage one another, reach out to friends if they're not there. I got a text message from somebody yesterday just to ask me how I was doing, and it just felt so good. So continue that great work, continue being one for the pack, and